What is going on, YouTube family? Welcome back to another episode of Nasdaq100 analysis, and we're gonna go over some of the concepts that I worked off last week, as well as where I think market is going to go this week, right? And I'm gonna answer a couple questions. Well, not a couple questions, a question that was posted on my last video, so I'll be answering the question for that. So the first things first is I'm just going to do what it is I'm doing in regards to sharing what I think is going to take place next week commencing the 10th of June, right? And then we'll take it from there. Okay, so I believe the content that I'm going to be sharing with you today you're going to find super useful, so make sure, if you haven't done so already, hit the subscribe button, turn on the notification, and drop us a like. So with all of that covered, we're going to get straight into the business of the day. So for the most part of last week, I was actually trading gold, right? So for the most part of last week, I was actually trading gold. I was not in the Nas at all, but however, I was keeping an eye on it, right? And one of the things I always talk about in this video, okay, is illustrated over here in terms of all the levels that we've drawn out. And as you're looking at it from this angle, you can begin to see the effectiveness of some of the stuff I talk about in regards to weekly highs and weekly lows. I mean, if you just look at it, you can just basically just see, I mean, weekly low taken out over here, market went all the way down, then the following week we had a weekly low that wasn't crossed. Obviously this week is ambiguity over here. Then we had weekly high crossed over here, a bit like how this weekly high is crossed. Very it's not a strong push to the upside, so there isn't much faith in this move up here going upwards. Chances are it'll probably come down, but I will elaborate a little bit more on that. I'm just kind of giving you a bit of a walkthrough in terms of how I look at everything before we actually get into the overall technicals, because you can see it here. And if you go back through all of my videos, like all of these things are posted as the videos progress. So this week we're going to be doing another weekly low, which is going to be around here, and the weekly high, which is going to be up here, right? So you see it, but as you can see a little trend begins to emerge. It kind of guides you, gives you a bit of a path as to what to do. So we can see here, so at this level over here, the weekly high on a Friday, taken out on a Monday, and then look at that, you sat in that nicely in that trade. That would have gone all the way up nicely. Okay, the following week, weekly high was taken out again, and look at that, it just follows a nice little path, and whenever it does it, it just tends to move in that direction. Okay, and then when the weekly low is taken out, then naturally it just starts to push down. So as you can see over here, the weekly low, this one over here, it was taken out, but in that same day we got an okie doke, so it came all the way down, then it came all the way back up again, right? So you had to be in and out in that one. That's why I say, like, it's not a silver bullet. It is it's something that it's a guide, but it's not the be-all system. Do you know what I mean? And whilst guys are waiting for major support and major resistance level, you're just basically following the direction of the market. That's all you're doing. You're just following it, right? You're just following it, and it just makes life so much easier. So that's it all there. I don't tend to delete all of these unless it gets super cluttered. That's when I get rid of them off the chart. But as it stands, I'll just leave them there for you, and you can see that as it is, that it works great. Paste in weekly lows and weekly highs throughout your charts, and you will see a path begin to emerge right in front of your eyes, right? It is as simple as that. So with that covered, we're going to get into the business of this week, right? So this week, what do we have? Well, week just gone, what do we have? So we got a weekly low that was set for us on Monday. So Monday we got the new low, right? Monday we got the new low, and then on the Friday we got the new high, right? Let me make sure this is straight. It is perfect. So let's just put in some labels in here, so we know this is a weekly low, and we know this up here is a weekly high, right? And the areas of interest over to us are these levels over here. So the level that we have is 18402.1, right? And the level up here is 19129.3, right? So if one of these levels are taken out next week commencing the 10th, I will be looking for a position in direction. That is what I would normally be doing, but however, I've kind of jumped onto gold right now, so I'll be doing that with gold, right? But yeah, I'll be doing that with gold. So with that covered, I'm going to answer the gentleman who posted this comment, and this is Dewman6205, right? First off, thank you very much for dropping the comment. Okay, so he put down, do you think US 100 will drop to 18,500 next week, meaning week commencing the 10th of June? It is very important for me. Thank you, or thanks, right? So let's take a look at what market is actually doing, right? So for that, let's just go into a naked chart, something that I haven't done any squiggly lines on. Okay, so this one will do the job nicely. This one will do the job nicely. Let's just get rid of everything on here, remove all drawings, and then let's go into a higher time frame, which is the day. And then let's take a look to see what market is doing right now. Okay, so as it looks right now, okay, this is how it looks. So we're kind of doing this together to answer your question, rather than me turn around and say to you, hey, I think it's going to come down, right? No, we're going to do the analysis together, and then we're going to figure out what is the possibility of NAS going to a certain location. So in this area, what I've just done is I've just put in the FVG for the day, which is one of the strongest FVGs you can find because it's found on a higher time frame, i.e. the day, right? And the level that you're thinking about is this level right here. Let me see if I can get it dead on. Let's just coordinates 18,500. Okay, so this is the level that we're looking at. We've got FVG on a day right here, and we're looking at this on a day. We already know, we've already drawn out a structure for this area already, so we're not going to bother doing that, because now we're going to start to work backwards. So we go all the way to the high time frame, and then we start to work backwards. Okay, so this is the level that you are thinking about right now. This level also happens to be very close to the weekly low, right? Very close. So this is the weekly low of last week just gone, and your level is just above it. Now, if I am thinking, is price going to come down to this level? Okay, based on what I'm seeing right now, I'm seeing a possibility that it could come to this zone. So I will just draw it out like this. So this is the zone that I'm gonna lay down. I'm gonna put down your zone, and I'm gonna mark this one red. So let's just say this is a red location, right? So in between this area right here, I think we may get a visit of price in this location, right? Now, will it take place next week? That I do not know. That I do not know. And reason why I say there is a high possibility, the reason why I say there's a possibility of price coming back to that zone, right? The reason why I say that, which is also important, is, and this is where I need to change the color, is that this right here and I'm referencing this bearish candle over here, bearish candle, this one right here, right? Let me change the color. Let me make this blue, right? This candle over here is an order block. Okay, so this level is attractive for price to come down to it, and like I said, if it takes out the week, if it comes down to it, right, and it takes out the weekly low with a parabolic candle, okay, just basically high velocity candle, right, flying downwards, right, then I am of the mindset that it's not going to stop and bounce and push up. It's just going to keep flying down, right? So let's go into an hour and let's just see how this shape overall looks. Okay, so this area here is your zone. This blue one over here is the order block, and this is where price is currently sitting. And as we can see, we have price building up at the top right here. So price is building up at the top, right? And this is the current trajectory of how price is currently looking right now. Right? This is how price is currently looking right now. So based on this assessment that we've done together, okay, what do you think? What do you think? Like, based on this assessment that we've just done right now, what do you think? Right? This is where price is. We have an order block down here. Price is building up at the top over here. And whenever price builds up at the top, as we can see, it build up at the top right here. Where's another one? It build up at the top right here. And there's so many more like it, okay? The likelihood of this coming down here is highly likely. It's highly likely, right? So in my opinion, I would say during the first 3 days of next week, you should have some idea if price is going to come to this zone or not, right? Because I don't want to turn around and say to you, it's definitely going to come to this zone, because I don't know. Right, that's the most honest answer I can give you. I do not know at all. Right, this is just assumptions and speculation based on what I think market is going to do. My overall style in itself is to follow the direction of the market, but I try not to predict where I think market is going to go, just because market does what market wants to do. And based on everything I've just said just now, it's important that I say this: I am not a financial advisor. I am not giving you financial advice. Everything you do off your own back, right? For you are responsible for the actions you take. I am not responsible at all. This is purely for education and entertainment purposes. This is the concept of this channel. Super important you know that, okay? So if you was to ask me, this area is super attractive to magnetize price from where it is down here, right? The possibility is quite high. Even looking at how it even looks in this channel right here, right? It is quite clear the likelihood of it taking out the weekly high that is set on Friday, as high as it may be, it may even take it out, but it may take it out as a false breakout, in my opinion, right? It could take it out as a false breakout. So we're just going to go back to the original chart that we're looking at, right? The original chart we're looking at, and we can kind of see your zone is around here somewhere, right? Your zone is around here somewhere, right? Weekly low of next week. That's what I'm looking to see if that gets taken out. And depending on how that gets taken out, I will take the appropriate action, okay? And then you have the weekly high, which was set on a Friday, right? And then let's use past week's experience for a little bit of context to help us in terms of what we kind of need to do, right? So first off, let's look at how last week, this weekly high of last week was taken out. Let's look at that, right? So I said there is quite a high possibility that price could come to that zone, right? I've definitely said that. But however, just because I said that, it doesn't mean that is what is actually going to take place, okay? So if we look at weekly high, how the weekly high was taken out, right? It took it out with some force, okay? It just took it out with some force. So we can see it got taken out with a lot of force, right? And then not only that, NFP came and touched the previous weekly high, which was over here, right? Which was over here. So, and this is the NFP, the red, the yellow candle flying all the way down. That was the NFP report, right? Came all the way down, touched it, boop, right here, and then flew back up again. Okay, so based off that, okay, I would say before price gets to this zone, it's gonna take out this weekly high first. It's gonna take out this weekly high first, create a new high, then it may pull back into this zone, giving us a head and shoulder. So once you see the head and shoulder appear, should we get a head and shoulder next week, then you can be fairly confident that it is coming down to the level that you expect in price to go. right? Now, everything I said is all assumptions because once again, I don't know. I do not know, right? So my recommendation will be continue to be patient, continue to monitor the market and see if it starts to create conditions up here to let you know it's coming down here, right? But we can already see that there are conditions down here why price would want to come down here. So there is a reason for price to want to come down here, but is it going to come down here straight away? That's the question that we kind of want to figure out, right? So at this realm that we're in right now, we're kind of trying to predict where market is going to go. And I always say that's a bad idea to try to predict where market is going to go because you don't know where market is going to go, right? So all it is that I can say is if you are expecting market to come into this zone, keep an eye as to what is taking place up here. And you have to continue to be patient. So that means you can't be impulsive, right? If it creates a head and shoulders at this level, so that is this weekly high gets taken out, then it comes back below the weekly high and starts dancing around this zone, right? Then it's fair to assume either we have a channel, okay, consolidation, right? And at which point you need to be careful as to what way it's going to blow off in. So if it's going to blow off down or if it's going to blow off up, right? But if it looks like we have a clear head and shoulders, right? A clear head and shoulders, then I would say that you can then begin to either position yourself for it to come all the way down and then obviously collect all of those wonderful profits that we love so much, right? Or you can just wait and see if it gets to this level. If there is something that you're expecting it to do when it gets to this level, if you're planning on buying the market back to the upside, you can then make those assessments should price come back into this zone, because there is a reason for it to come to this zone. We have an order block sitting right here that may pull it back. We know there's a FVG in this area the price could bounce off of, so that's the one I showed you in on the previous chart, right? So there is a lot going on, and my best advice that I could give you, right, which is not financial advice, is exercise patience. Okay, so with all of that covered, we've got the two levels of interest that we're thinking about for next week, right, which are these levels over here. So let me just bring them in closer, right? These are these levels over here, right? And yeah, and literally we want to see what happens next week. So once again, if this way of trading is going over your head, I have a whole bunch of backtesting videos, okay? You should see the thumbnails at the end of these videos, so you can go and check them out. If you also want to see what we talked about last week as well, last week's video, that thumbnail is also would be at the end of this video as well. So make sure you check them both out. So with all of that covered, my awesome people from all around the world, I want to thank you for coming over to watch another episode of Nasdaq100 Analysis, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video, which will be very, very soon. So for now, this is Pips and Points signing